This is Badass Billy Gunn, 11-time WWE Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Hardcore Champion, and you're listening to IcoPod. You gotta hear this. And if you're not listening to this, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
And welcome back to IcoPod, episode 64. I'm Bob Conley Jr. And with me, as always, is Austin Skinner as we continue our journey to WrestleMania 10. Austin, how are you doing this week?
I am doing fantastic, Bob.
Wow.
I think I'm starting to really feel the hype of WrestleMania 10. So just as kind of a peek behind the curtain here, after this episode, our next recording, we sit down, we get to talk about WrestleMania 10. So for me to go back and watch it, it's been quite a while since I went back to watch the whole show as one piece. So I am looking forward to that. I know for a fact that I remember it off the top of my head as me liking it more than WrestleMania 9. And I think with the backstory, just like last year, it'll really help enhance the show. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the March to WrestleMania because I remember last year's March to WrestleMania was probably stronger than WrestleMania itself. So we got really 2 solid shows ahead of us, and I couldn't be more excited, I think, at this point in time.
Yeah. WrestleMania 9, of course, had Yoko and Randy, Taker, Bigelow, the infamous octopus in a pool promo by Beefcake.
Yes.
Hogan, which has become a favorite of ours.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is the next episodes after this are March to WrestleMania 10 and then WrestleMania 10 itself. So that should be a lot of fun. Recently, speaking of WrestleMania 9, though, because I just almost have heartburn here. I recently saw on the freaking awesome Wrestling Network, somebody made a post about WrestleMania 9 being one of the worst shows ever. And when you watch it on a standalone, that might be the case. But when you incorporate everything with it, it's a show that is just filled with bad finishes. It's not a bad show.
Right.
None of the finishes make any sense. And it just
Sure.
ruins the bulk of the show. But if you just ignore that part, it's not horrible. It's not one of the best, but it's not horrible.
We've definitely seen worse.
Without question.
So I think that's an interesting point to make. I think unlike last year's WrestleMania, the storylines have been built up much better. So we're going in with months of backlog stuff. So I think that's a plus. I think on paper also this card is probably stronger just with matchup wise. So I'm looking forward to WrestleMania 10. It's probably one of my more underrated favorites. I love the entrance stage with the big X opening up, the black and yellow theme with the ropes and the turnbuckles is really cool looking. And of course, it being in Madison Square Garden back home. So I'm looking forward to that one. I agree with you. I think WrestleMania 9 gets a bad rap. WrestleMania 10 is, if not underrated, that probably gets a bad rap as well for being one of the less memorable ones other than maybe the Shawn and Razor ladder match. Because I think even the Owen Hart, Bret Hart match gets overlooked a lot for matches like Steamboat Savage and what have you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to digging in, getting some notes in for that show. And like we said, watching it with some context.
For sure. Just want to point out before we really get into the show, we mentioned it last week. You've asked for it, and we've given in for some IcoPod merch. Austin, you want to explain it maybe a little bit better than I did? So I have no idea.
Yeah, and just to kind of recap some of our announcements last week. So we opened up a Redbubble store, which for most people, if you've ever used Redbubble, you can kind of just go on there and search designs, and you'll find anything from, classic wrestling stuff to, pop culture stuff to movie stuff. Well, we decided to jump on the boat, the Redbubble boat, and open up an IcoPod store. So what you'll find on there is kind of the basics with a couple of fun things added in. So of course you have your standard t-shirts. We have mugs on there. We've uploaded the ever popular drawstring bag, which Bob bought 3 of at this point.
7 million, actually.
Yep. So just some fun stuff for you guys to look at. Again, we more or less opened up the store for us to buy stuff because we're marks of our own podcast. And Bob will probably be buying a wall tapestry to hold up during public appearances and wrestling events because we want to get our shit over. But if you want to get our shit over and you want to wear our shit, then head over to Redbubble where you'll be able to buy our shit. Now, as we mentioned last week, really not much of a kickback for us, but if you want to show us some support, get the word on the street, get people to ask you, hey, what's that fucking t-shirt mean? Do us a solid. Head on there, check it out, and pick yourself up something if you like anything.
Yeah. Again, I will definitely get the drawstring and a t-shirt because I liked Ico Pro. It's like I never used it because I was like 4, but always that banner in the background,
Yeah, super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just having our little logo on a shirt could be.
It would look cool on your wall, Bob. Hint, hint.
Hey. I'm not going to put. Oh, the banner. Yeah.
Yeah, the banner.
That'd be pretty funny if I did that. I'd bring a girl over. What's this IcoPod thing? It's a podcast. It's an enhancement drug.
It's my podcast.
No, it's
I'm
ours.
over. I'm over.
I'm big time, baby. All right.
That's right.
So, I want to point out too, I forgot that we recently did a Starrcade 93 live watch, and on that live watch, which I don't think is going to be released. It's not going to be released until well after this anyway. So when that comes out, there was a moment there where we discussed, who was the WCW Tag Team of the Year or whatever. And I ran and tried to find a magazine because I have 970 of them.
Right.
And turns out I don't have that one.
Of course.
But High Spots did. And I said on the air that I'm going to buy that magazine and probably 4 other ones because I searched it. And guess what Bob did?
Oh.
I bought 5 magazines off of highspots.com.
Damn it.
So probably when we get to Super Bowl 4, I'll just pop open that magazine. We'll discuss the year-end awards according to the publication because I'm not going to spoil it here. There is a backstory as to why we did that, but you're going to have to listen to Starrcade 93 to find out the context of why I would do such a thing.
Interesting. Oh, okay. So you're pointing him in that direction. I like it. Yeah, that was one of our more relaxed live watches. And guys, if you're unfamiliar with our bonus stuff or haven't really dipped your toes in, because we're going to be inching closer and closer to 10 bonus episodes that are roughly around 3 hours each. Do yourself a favor. If you're looking for just something to throw on and you're folding laundry or you're doing homework or you're doing something where you don't really want to focus on anything, but you want to just hear some wrestling nerds talk about wrestling nerd stuff, throw those on. They're much more relaxed. We don't do notes, as most of our regular listeners probably know by now. We kind of just spit things right off the top of our head. So that was indeed a situation where Bob was like, well, let's not just talk about it. Let me see if I can find it. And proceeded to leave the podcast and run around his apartment. So if you like hearing Bob run around his apartment and us babble on like idiots, stop into the bonus shows, give those a try.
Yeah, and I think those episodes are really good if you are traveling.
Yeah.
Around the country or whatever. Like if you got a long car ride coming up and you're like, oh my God, this is going to suck. Just pop us in. Even like just a regular episode like this, we're usually around an hour and a half. So you can, let's say you got a 5-hour drive or something. You put us on and we got 3 or 4 episodes and you're at your destination. So we're a pretty good distraction.
Yeah.
Now, considering our language, you might want to invest in headphones or hopefully not have children in the car.
Or turn it up and roll all the windows down, and hopefully you're stuck in traffic. And if you are right now, hey, asshole. Yeah, you next to
use
us.
your blinker come on, Grandma.
Yeah, look at us over here. You hear where this voice is coming from? Yeah, look at this guy in the car, this guy or girl. They think you're an idiot. All right. Now face forward. We're done talking to you.
Yeah. So Johnny from England, that's coming in handy.
Yeah. We just did him a solid.
Yeah. Hey, the light's green. Great. I don't even know if they have stoplights in England, but if they do, perfect. Okay. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Welcome, Johnny.
There you go.
All right, let's get right into this, shall we? Observer notes: Crash the Terminator, and the man that would go on to be known as Duke the Dumpster Droese got tryouts recently. Crash only got a response for a missed moonsault, so he didn't really connect with the crowd. Duke looked bad in his first outing, but his second outing was okay because of his finishing move, which is a tilt-a-whirl power slam. So he got a bit of a pop on that. So obviously what I just said here, Duke Droese gets a job because he's known as Duke the Dumpster Droese. He had a different ring name that was used in the Observer at this time. To be quite honest with you, you could not have paid me the amount of money in the world for me to pronounce it correctly. So I just said Duke Droese, which is what he is known as. Crash the Terminator would be known as Hugh Morris later on. And unfortunately, Hugh did not get a job out of that. So he would venture off eventually to WCW in 1995.
Atlanta.
The Heavenly Bodies will be starting full-time in mid-June. I believe it was reported like sometime in the spring. It looks like we got a more definitive answer this time around. Around mid-June, they will be on the road doing the shows. They will be out of Smoky Mountain Wrestling and working with the WWF.
Kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I like the Heavenly Bodies as a unit. Singles-wise, Pritchard doesn't seem to do well, but tag team I can deal with.
Yes.
And my last piece of news here is that they've already taped post-Mania angles, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, syndication is not in the same timeline as usually what they're doing, so they have to think far in advance. So I'm not going to divulge anything there. We're going to learn that as we go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. House show notes, we got two, and they both occurred on the same day. The first one was in Anaheim, California at the Arrowhead Pond on March 3rd, 1994 with 5,800 in attendance. And this show actually had clips shown on USA Network's Up All Night with Rhonda Shear, and that aired on March 18th, 1994. Now, I didn't say that right because Rhonda Shear would say Up All Night. So you got to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
Okay.
Here's the card. Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the Heavenly Bodies, competed against the Bushwhackers in a non-title match. Link and Dink squared off against Bam Bam and Luna in a mixed tag match. The WWF Tag Team Champions, Quebecers, defended against 1-2-3 Kid and Jim Powers. WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Bastion Booger teamed up to take on Men on a Mission.
Holy fuck.
The Smoking Guns squared off against the Head Shrinkers. And your main event is Bret Hart and Lex Luger taking on Owen Hart and IRS.
So I'm outside of that show picketing that show. I'm boycotting it.
That's one of the worst shows I think we've seen. Like
Holy fuck. And especially in the Arrowhead Pond Arena. Come on. For not a bad turnout either. 5,800 people. That ain't bad.
I mean, it's not great.
It's not great, but it ain't bad. It's not 2,800.
Yeah. This is an easy pass for myself.
Holy fuck, you think?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
We're not going to that one.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. Who knows if it even gets that much better. WWF also had a show in Blackburn, England on March 3rd, 1994. And the card featured Sparky Plug taking on the Brooklyn Brawler, Diesel squaring off against Yo, bro, Virgil, Earthquake in singles action against Adam Bomb, Tatanka in singles action against Quang. Jeff Jarrett in singles action against Rick Martel. Randy Savage squaring off against Crush. WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze defending against Lalani Kai. And WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defending against Shawn Michaels.
I mean, a little better, but I still don't think I'm going.
I think I'm passing on that one too. Is this the first time we've ever said that we would not go to either one?
I think so. I think we're just staying home and playing Nintendo Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because shit, man. I don't know, man. I don't think it's enough to get. It's almost there, but it's not enough to get me to buy that London plane ticket.
No.
No way.
Even if I lived in England, I don't think I'm going to go to the show.
Right.
I don't even know if I'd go to that show if my dad was like, "Hey, Bob, I got 2 tickets to the wrestling show tonight. You want to go to it?" I'm like, "Oh, what's on it?" And he tells me, I'm like, "No, I think
I'm going to go to the pub."
I'm good. Just pass on that one.
No, I agree.
Syndication is just one piece of news. It's pretty big news, actually. Yeah, too. Here we go. Ready? Nikolai Volkov was seen sitting in the front row on the March 6th Wrestling Challenge during a head shrinkers match. So it wasn't an accident. He's not lost. He is definitely going to WWF shows, and he's definitely sitting in the front row, and it's definitely became a trend.
Fucking no, thank you.
Yeah. All right, here we go. March 7th, 1994, WWF Monday Night Raw. We are taped from Poughkeepsie, New York. Poughkeepsie. Footage from last week where Crush screwed Randy Savage out of the WWF World Championship is shown, and then a brief hype video for the tag team match between the Smoking Guns taking on Owen Hart and Crush is also shown. And we then get our usual Raw opening video.
And really quick, too. Something super stupid that could have happened for several weeks now, but something I just noticed is that we're now getting the little copyright logo box in the top left corner of the Raw opening package. I think that's new because it's probably the first time I've noticed it.
Are you talking about like the TV PG thing or whatever?
No. So it's like it almost looks like a speech box with a little tail on it. It's like a little white box.
Oh, I don't think I've ever noticed that before.
For the copyright, yeah, and it was on the video. So I don't know. Maybe it's just another little stupid thing, but maybe they're trying to really lock down their copyrights these days, especially with a different company gaining a little bit of steam.
Yeah, like a little. It's not that big of a deal.
You know?
Yeah. Like the biggest wrestling star is not about to go to Atlanta. It's no big. All right. Vince McMahon is joined by Ted DiBiase to be this week's guest commentator. DiBiase says that everyone has a price. McMahon goes over what will be on this week's edition. And then DiBiase says that he is the only one that gets the last laugh when Doink is mentioned. And then DiBiase believes Virgil would be better off still working for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like we're bringing back the DiBiase Virgil feud.
The never-ending story. Yeah.
That's going to be terrific. We go right into our featured match. It is Owen Hart and Crush teaming up to take on the Smoking Guns. And by God, Nikolai Volkov is sitting at ringside booing Owen and Crush. So he's off the C-level show. He's on prime time. He's getting that push, baby.
Yeah, he's in like a tomato red pinstripe suit. He looks more like a mobster than a Russian guy, which was weird. Kind of a weird contrast there.
Yeah.
I also wanted to make note that the Guns are now in duster jackets, like duster coats, with no pop guns, though. And I can't remember the last time they've come out with them, now that I'm thinking about it. So that's kind of a bummer, because that was one of their signatures of their entrance. No guns. No guns for the Smoking Guns. So there you go for that.
That is pretty interesting. So I'm trying to think too.
I can't think of the last time they come out with them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It had to have been 93 that did. It hasn't been any time this year.
I don't think so.
Bart and Owen start the match with Owen getting the advantage with the right hands, but is met with an arm drag takedown by Bart. Crush enters and scoop slams Bart. And then Bart connects with a spinning crossbody off the top for a near fall. Billy enters and rolls Crush up for a 2 count. Crush rakes the face of Billy to control the match. Crush runs into a boot by Billy in the corner, and then Billy leaps off the middle rope, connecting with a clothesline, but doesn't go for the cover. Owen enters and is taken down by Billy with a hip toss and arm drag. Owen nails Billy with a spinning heel kick. Owen with a snap suplex and a leg drop. Crush leaps off the top, connecting with an axe handle. Crush with a savant kick and double teams Owen in the corner briefly. Crush with a backbreaker for a near fall, and tags in Owen, who connects with a missile dropkick. Back from commercial, Bart got the hot tag and cleans house with a backdrop and clothesline on Owen. Bart with a power slam on Owen for a near fall. Crush chop blocks the knee of Bart, who had Owen set up for a backbreaker. That allows Owen to put on the sharpshooter. And, of course, Bart is forced to submit. So that gives Owen and Crush the submission victory. After the match, Billy checks on Bart while Owen and Crush celebrate their win. So what did you think of our opening tag match, Mr. Austin Skinner?
Another solid opener, I thought. I thought it was a good showing for the Guns. And I was also really surprised with how much I enjoyed Crush and Owen as a team. Last week, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work out and pan out. So I was interested in really kind of paying attention this week to how things would unfold between them, especially because they're two pretty drastically different guys. So yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid opener. Both teams worked pretty well together. And for the finish, they make sense with the connection of the cheap chop block and then the submission victory. I don't think it does too much to damage the Guns here because they're still kind of on their way up and not like a guy like Adam Bomb where they've brought him all the way up and then he's just rapidly declining down. So yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. And even more so, I enjoyed the segment that followed.
Yeah, for me, this match, pretty decent. I mean, there's no heat on it or anything. It's just kind of a filler featured match.
Sure.
For the most part. And maybe Crush would be better off in a big man, small man tag team.
I think so. I think it hides a lot of Crush's crutches, if I may say so. A lot of his weaknesses. So, especially with a guy like Owen, how can you not look good, first of all? Second of all, I think you're right. I think a small man, big man is almost tailor-made for Crush.
For sure. As you noted here, Vince McMahon interviews Owen and Crush after the match. McMahon mentions that Crush will be facing Bret Hart this coming Sunday on the March to WrestleMania 10 show. Owen says that he doesn't want Crush to hurt Bret too much because he wants to be his brother fair and square. Crush then tells Bret Hart that talk is cheap, and that he will take Bret apart.
Yeah, and just to kind of expand on that a little bit, I was, again, much to my surprise, I was kind of surprised how well Owen and Crush played off each other on the mic even as well. So there might be a little bit of chemistry with these two. So as Owen kind of gets his standard stuff in, Vince, is the ringside for this. They make reference to Bret, fighting Bret. Owen asks Crush to take it easy on Bret so Bret doesn't have an excuse not to be 100% at WrestleMania. And Crush basically calls Bret Hart a walking excuse. And that nobody knows better than Owen that he's a walking excuse. He calls himself, the excellence of execution. But in Hawaii, talk is cheap, brother. You're looking at the real WWF powerhouse. And the hardest part for Crush taking on Bret will be that he has to leave a little piece left for Owen at WrestleMania. So, again, I think these two killed it here. For this little quick ringside post-match interview, and them really having no reason to have any camaraderie, I think they did a really, really good job of meshing together and making it work and making me buy into it.
Well, I like that Owen was like, I want to beat him fair and square. I don't want there to be any excuse.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was a good. So I think like a guy like Jerry Lawler could be like beat him up as much as he can or something.
Sure. Sure.
So I did like that that aspect of the promo because Owen wants to beat Bret at his best. So there's no doubt. I like it.
Right.
We go to our WrestleMania 10 report with Todd Pettengill. He hypes up the March to WrestleMania 10 show, which is taking place on Sunday, March 13th. Todd pretty much goes over the same full card. I'm not going to list that right now.
Same celebrities, same card, all of that.
He does note Alundra Blaze's opponent has been revealed as being Leilani Kai. And the complete card has been announced. So I will probably do another rundown on the March to WrestleMania 10 show. We'll maybe dissect them match by match on that one before WrestleMania 10. But pretty much your usual WrestleMania 10 report there.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention here as well, yes, I was wrong. Originally, I thought Blaze would be taking on fucking Heidi Morgan or whatever.
Heidi Lee Morgan, yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, I was wrong. It is going to be Leilani Kai. Should have saw that one coming. I didn't. So there you go. I admitted it. You jerks.
Stop sending the hate mail. We go to our second contest. It's Jeff Jarrett taking on bro, Virgil. Virgil actually gets an entrance, which automatically means he's probably going to win. Never gets an entrance.
He came out as if he was Bret Hart level of popularity.
He is.
It was hilarious.
He is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's way over. It should be Yokozuna, Virgil, Mania 10, book it.
Virgil
Iron Man match.
Is the best there was, the best there ever will be.
100%. And if you give him $20, he'll say it.
Right.
Virgil takes Jarrett down with a drop toe hold early on and locks in a few hammerlock submission holds. Jarrett misses an attack in the corner and is rolled up by Virgil for a near fall. Pretty slow match with Virgil working over the left arm of Jarrett. It ends with Jarrett hitting Virgil with a jumping DDT to win the match. And of course, after the match, Jarrett struts on all of our hopes and dreams to taunt the fans. So I'm assuming Virgil, this is how I'm picturing this, how this happened. Virgil's like, yo, Jeff, I've been crushing it. Okay. I had a match with Bomb a couple months ago. I was diving over the top, doing flips. Crowd popped huge.
Beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, I came back to the gorilla. Vince and all them like, that's the yo bro we want. And he was like, yo, bro, you got this, bro. This is my time to shine, Jeff. So I'm probably gonna do some springboards. And probably
you gotta sell for me, little brother.
You gotta sell for me. Okay, I'm gonna do the 450. I've been watching some Japanese things. I'm probably gonna hit you real hard in the face. Maybe a couple of elbows, break your nose. I don't know, bro. Like, we'll see how it goes.
Get your shit together, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like this shit's going down. And then Jeff was probably like, well, Virgil, none of that's happening. You're gonna twist my arm for maybe 20 seconds, and then you're going down from 3. That's how this is gonna go.
Vince is in the background, like, yep. That's
Yeah, Virgil. Everything you said, I never said any of that. Oh, Sonny, you're a funny guy. All right, Jeff, take care of it. About 3.5, right? Okay. All right. See you guys later.
Oh my God. Yeah. So obviously you didn't miss much here with this one. Speaking of not missing much here, Vince says, oh wait, I've been handed a note here from the official timekeeper. Speaking of official timekeepers, we have one for WrestleMania. Rhonda Shearer from a show on the USA. And I just said, cool, another F-lister. Who gives a shit? Speaking of, again, who gives a shit? During the match here, one little part that I found pretty funny is that Jeff told the referee that Virgil was pulling out his hair. And as soon as he did that, it was a hard camera shot. And a chubby mom with Coke bottle glasses right in the front row says, no, and wagged her finger at Jeff Jarrett. Jeff sees this and plays right back with her and was like yelling back and forth with this lady. He's like choking Virgil. It was hilarious.
That's good heel work.
Yeah, he was able to pick up on that and be like, let me play off of this.
Yeah.
So that I enjoyed that part of it. The match itself, we got a wrist lock for about 2 minutes. Vince is going down the card for next Sunday night. We get Tatanka versus Yokozuna announced. Also, we were still in a wrist lock here. And Lex Luger meets Jimmy Del Rey. on the march to WrestleMania. So 2 interesting matches here announced. I really thought that the Lex Del Rey match was quite out of left field, but I am looking forward to that because I'm hoping Jimmy Del Rey makes Lex kind of look stupid. So we'll see how that goes. As far as the finish of the match, I think was Jarrett? Yeah, Jay. That was really the only move he hit the whole match was his little DDT thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of it was like rest holds and just basic mat stuff.
Yeah, although Virgil was whipping his ass pretty much the whole match.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the forearms and I'm gonna break your nose.
Yeah, right.
So
I have to say, man, I think fuck Jeff Jarrett at this point for me. I've kind of given up right from the get-go, right from the jump.
Yeah,
this disappointing me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of off the boat on that, especially if he's almost having a hard time with Virgil. Yeah,
well, he had trouble with, was it John Paul or PJ Walker or somebody?
Several enhancement matches where it's like, who's the enhancement match for?
Right.
Is it really for Jarrett? Because he ain't doing much.
Yeah, I think the presentation for him for these matches have not gone
very flat.
The best direction.
Yeah, very flat.
So, but I'm just glad that we got another appearance from the Yo, bro, Virgil.
Yo, bro.
Promo video hyping up the Tatanka Yokozuna matchup on March to WrestleMania 10 is shown as well, which is realistically turning out to be pretty strong for a special.
For sure.
Because you got Brett Crush, you have Tatanka Yoko, you have Luger and Del Rey, and who knows what else will be on this show.
Yeah.
So that has my interest for sure. Ted DiBiase hypes up Jeff Jarrett being on Country Beat magazine, but Vince McMahon reveals that DiBiase had that set up and the cover wasn't real.
It's literally a sticker on the whole thing. It's just like, it's such a fraud. Like DiBiase's reading through it. He's like, yeah, it's just so exciting for Jarrett. And Vince literally just pulls at one corner and peels the whole cover off. And Ted just looks the other way like, oh, well, he caught me. He's fucking so good.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Cy Sperling cuts an interesting promo where he believes that he can help WWF superstars who are bald. And he uses Mr. Fuji as an example.
You could tell he was reading right off a script.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who Mr. Fuji was. You could have put Tom Cruise on that and he would be like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
That's a wrestler guy. I have no idea.
He referenced Finkel again, and I think it's just kind of low blows at this point to Finkel. Like they're definitely ribbing him.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know why this Cy Sperling guy is getting so much raw fucking time. Who gives a shit?
He must have bought like airtime.
Had to have.
Speaking of people who, why are they getting so much raw time? It's Doink, and he's in singles action against Iron Mike Sharp. Doink sprays Sharp with some water. Dink runs in, circles around Sharp, confusing him. Doink has control, drop kick, arm drags. You know, the usual type of stuff here. And then Doink is able to finish it off with the whoopee cushion to win this squash match. I don't know, man. I don't like Doink. I don't like this Doink. I don't care about it.
And not only that, but this Doink has a bad case of taking his suckage and letting it rub off on the people he's working with. For example,
not to say Mike Sharp is good.
Well, so for example, Iron Mike Sharp is one of the more consistent enhancement guys.
Well, yeah.
In this match, Iron Mike Sharp's comedy shit was worse than Doink's. So he's running around the ring like a fucking elephant, just chasing around Dink, runs into Doink. They trade arm drags. It's so bad. It's just bad TV. And it's so minuscule. Like the match is probably not even maybe 3 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Just scrap it. Like, just take it off the show. Please. It serves nothing. It's not funny. It's trying so hard to be funny, and it's not funny. And Iron Mike Sharp trying to play into it and like maybe out funny Doink was even worse. So fuck it. Fuck it.
The Doink character is for sure directed for the kids.
Completely.
And I don't even think the kids are really on board with this.
I think the kids are groaning just as much as the adults.
I think so.
Unless you're like 5 years old or under, and in that case, why are you at a fucking live wrestling show?
Well, unless you're my dad.
Well, yeah.
Because these are this incarnation of Doink is his favorite. So
Sure. Yeah.
that probably says a lot about my dad. We go to Vince McMahon. He plugs the WWF WrestleMania 10 hotline. So if you want to get scammed out of some money, give them a call, and they'll take about what was like $1.49 or something every minute.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a great scam. But the whole reason that we're here, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, yeah. Let me get my chair ready here. Let me
is for the following segment that Austin Skinner has been hyping up for me for the last 6 days. This is something that I had completely forgotten about, because let me just give you some context before we get into this. So after our live watch, I think it was the Starrcade one, right? Or no, It was Halloween Havoc, I think. Or maybe it was the Starrcade. Yeah, it was Starrcade.
Yeah, it was Starrcade.
I think it was. So after that, he goes, Bob, have you watched the Raws yet? And I was like, no, not yet. I'm going to do that Wednesday. And he goes, dude, you have to see the Tatanka segment. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, dude, it is so bad. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so I watched it. And there's no question that Austin will do this far more. He will do a better justification of what is going on. So, Austin, take it away. The segment involving Tatanka.
I have been chomping at the bit, and I can't think of another time this much how hyped I was to talk about a segment in a particularly bad segment.
Right.
So
You were pretty pumped up for that March to WrestleMania 9 one with the
I
pool
was.
and everything.
No,
Like
I was.
that was for sure. Yeah.
No, I definitely was. I'd say it's close. It's close to that, but not quite.
Yeah.
But close.
That's our peak for bad, I think.
That's
That and Tiny Tim. But I think the Mania 9 one, March to WrestleMania 9 one's that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's get right into it. So we get back from commercial, and the Lumbee Nation was in the ring, headed by Chief Ray Little Turtle, who, to give you kind of an imagery here, was a white guy with a top hat on. So you know this is legit right off the bat. Chief Ray Little Turtle here. Chief Jay Strongbow is in the ring in full regalia, headdress and suit. And next to him is Chief Wahoo McDaniels. They put an S on the last name there, McDaniels. Both in the ring here to make up the Lumbee Nation, essentially a Native American tribe. What a fucking joke! Okay, so this is Tatanka's elders here in his tribe, the Lumbee Nation. This is his Native American tribe. A white guy with a top hat on, an Italian guy, and a half Native American. Okay. So there you go. Tatanka comes out to big cheers, but he had no hair dye in, which I wanted to make so that you know this is formal. This is a formal ceremony. All right. So he comes down, he shakes each man's hand individually as Vince hands things over. He hands over the ceremony to Chief Little Turtle. Okay. So Little Turtle says that he has traveled many miles to bring Tatanka sacred feathers that have hung for many moons in the longhouse, in the lodge, he says. With these feathers, respect them and carry the respect of the great Native Americans. Because we are the indigenous people of this land. Again, white guy in a top hat saying all this shit. Right? So, with these feathers from the young people in the tribe, We ask that you respect them and take them with you. And again, he's talking about this feathered headdress. Tatanka gets on the mic and says he does not have the words. All he has is the tears in his eyes as he remembers when as a young kid on the reservation, he saw these exact feathers hanging in the lodge. And he's honored that the young children of the tribe have voted him, and it's an honor to have these sacred feathers bestowed upon him. He went on to say and continued how honored he was to share a ring with the two Native American predecessors right here in the same squared circle with him now. Crowd cheers as they both were named off. Of course, we said Wahoo McDaniel and, of course, Chief Jay Strongbow. Tatanka says that Wahoo helped him when he was young and said that Strongbow has truly brought him through since joining the WWF. Tatanka then proceeds to really push this whole thing with visually weeping, tears streaming down his face as he accepts with pride the feathers. Jay says that he was proud to be a part of his career. And Daniels gets on the mic and says, now Tatanka represents all those little Indian boys. Full steam ahead, brother. Pretty much as white as you could possibly say it. And calls the Native American boys Indian boys. Perfect. So with that in mind, Strongbow was asked to help Tatanka get the headdress on. And it was blatantly obvious that Strongbow had no fucking clue how to put this thing on Tatanka's head. So, Chief Jay Strongbow says he was proud to be a part of, this whole thing. And as he's putting it on, Tatanka basically takes it out of his hand and just does it himself because Strongbow does not know what the fuck he's doing. So Tatanka then, with the headdress on, dances around the ring. He hugs the three men. His music plays. And that was it. I think this is one of the biggest jokes we've seen on Raw. The fact that it's just so inaccurate and so not genuine at all. And I think any real Native American would probably be really pissed off with this whole thing. They play on stereotypes of Native Americans. Wahoo McDaniel calls them little Indian boys. The white guy giving the ceremony is just really trying to think of anything he can relate back to, again, Native American stereotypes. This headdress hanging in the lodge and all this fucking shit and the honor, So it was so cringeworthy, and the thing the whole thing, right? But the cherry on top of this deliciously shitty ice cream sundae was the fact that Tatanka openly weeps and sells this fucking huge. And for once, Tatanka wasn't the worst actor in the ring. Because if anybody was really trying to sell this and make it work and make it feel genuine, it was Tatanka. Because everybody else was doing pretty much anything they could to negate all of that. Just so bizarre and poorly done. In bad taste, I would even say. Just a gem. Just a gem. If you don't do anything else that we tell you to do, go on the WWE Network. Look up Raw number 54. Click through about a half hour. Fucking find the segment. Watch it. I promise you, you will either laugh or cry with how ridiculous this is. And you might even cry as much as Tatanka, although I don't know if that's possible. Fucking gem. Wrestle crap at its finest.
Yeah, it's tough to defend my boy Tatanka on this one. Yeah, I don't know. And watching it, I was just like, as soon as he started crying, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. If he doesn't cry, it's probably not as bad. But he's getting super emotional about this. And for me, which, I guess being, I don't want to say smart to the business, but, knowing what's going on, like Chief Wahoo McDaniel, he's a road agent.
Right.
So this isn't like Tatanka hasn't seen this guy for 10 years. It's like he's in the back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Strongbow he's around all the time. Little Turtle, whatever. That makes no sense to me. But I have it noted here because I had the volume way up so I could hear everything. There is some guy in the crowd.
Oh no.
Booing the shit out of this the entire time. He does not give a flying fuck about any of this. He's just like, boo. No, boo. It's like, and you got Tatanka crying because he's so emotional about getting this headdress or whatever. And the guy's just, boo. Oh, man. This sucks. Like, so bad.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know what the attempt of this was. Was this an attempt to
fill time?
Put a bigger focus on Tatanka? Like, I don't know.
A 10-man match at WrestleMania?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It didn't seem really.
It was laughable. It was laughable. And McDaniel and fucking Strongbow are horrible. Like, why they didn't have anything scripted for them, I'll never know. Because they pretty much just both said this, oh, we're proud of you. And then McDaniel was even worse. But yeah, I don't get it. I
can see these guys in the back, a week before the show or whatever, just at Vince McMahon's house, circled together. Like, okay, all right, so we're doing this segment for Tatanka. Okay, who knows the most about Native Americans? Just write it down.
We've made up.
Yeah, and then we'll put it together, right? Nobody's gonna know. It'll be fine. These people just go with whatever we say anyway. This is great. So, what's gonna happen?
You know who I was hoping would come out?
Who?
Our favorite WCW competitor of all time,
Charlie fucking Norris. You
that just really sold it for me.
He comes out and he's like, "Hello, Tatanka. That's I'm your brother." Charlie Tatanka. It's like, what?
Please wear my own loincloth with honor.
Like,
it's only slightly soiled, my brother.
Yeah, it's just complete nonsense. But
and then Strongbow, like, not knowing how to put the headdress on.
Because he does. He just like, all right, yeah, thanks, man, I got it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
This is okay. Doink better been backstage taking notes on this shit, because if he wants to see comedy, here's some fucking comedy gold for you right here. And it ain't even supposed to be funny. And it's probably a 7 out of 10 funny. So, dude, yeah, big fan of how shitty this was and how pointless it was and how much time this got dedicated to it. Because Tatanka just seemingly rambled on almost as much as Little Turtle rambled on.
This went on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was something else.
A substantial amount of time. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase also pokes fun at Tatanka for crying on commentary. Ted doesn't care.
Sure.
We get a brief promo by Little Richard hyping up his appearance at WrestleMania 10. Erwin R. Shyster comes out and he makes fun of Tatanka and his ceremony. And IRS promises to take the headdress that Tatanka has just received. Kind of like a tax audit, I guess.
Yeah, it's like he says a gift tax on the headdress.
Yeah. So there's our future angle. That's going to be running in the spring. That's going to be fun. Well, IRS is not done. He's in the main event, and he is taking on Mark Thomas. Do I want to put you guys to sleep now? Okay, now. So what would you expect out of this? You're going to get your abdominal stretch using the ropes for leverage, because that goes on forever. Pretty basic, to the point IRS singles matches here. You're not getting a lot of quality stuff. And he wins with the write-off lariat. So,
yeah, nothing Nothing really here of substance. Of course, IRS again is sweating his absolute nuts off in this match. Hits the decent clothesline for the finish. I don't think there should be really any reason IRS is getting a squash match at this point.
Well, he's also in that 10-man
Exactly.
match.
Like, why are we donating time to this? So I don't know. It wasn't impressive. It was. If you've seen one IRS squash match, you've seen every single IRS squash match, and that's all it was.
If you've seen one IRS squash match, you've seen every IRS match in general.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
pretty close.
Well, we get a video promoting the Lex Luger Jimmy Del Rey singles match for March to WrestleMania 10.
And I thought that was pretty funny because this isn't even a WWF guy, and we've only seen him like twice.
Yeah.
So, like, come on. Really?
That's all right. Jimmy Del Rey, he deserves a hype video. Come on. The Gigolo.
I guess.
Any guy that can move his hips like that deserves a video package. Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies make their way down to the ring before we go to commercial break. And then we come back from commercial. Vince McMahon is with Jim Cornette and the Heavenly Bodies. Cornette says that this is a search and destroy mission. Del Rey's mission is to make Luger a broken man. And then Cornette says that Luger will be having his last match at WrestleMania 10. Del Rey will hit Luger from so many different directions, he'll be a pinball machine. So what did you think of that little closing segment for the promotion for Del Rey and Luger?
I think it was relatively weak for a Cornette spot, especially. He basically compares Lex to a lemon of a Ford, and that Yoko's compared to like a top Toyota.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. He says that Luger will go no farther than Yokozuna at WrestleMania. And Vince just kind of looks on in disgust at the whole thing. Jimmy continues working his hairy ass body with his hands. And it is announced, again, that Lex Luger is taking on the Gigolo. And Cornette just goes, yep. And then we went off the air. It's just like, yep, okay. So it was kind of lackluster for me. I was hoping that Cornette would more or less build up Jimmy Del Rey, a little bit more, seeing as he's getting one of the featured matches next Sunday. So, yeah, I expect more from Cornette, and he really, for this one, didn't deliver very much for me.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really feel like a big-time match anyway.
No.
Nor would anybody really go into this thinking that Del Rey was going to win or anything. So
yeah.
Anyway, for this week's episode, I thought there's not a lot here. I mean, the tag match is pretty decent, but it's not goal. You don't need to see it or anything. The only reason that you would maybe want to watch this is, in fact, for the absolutely horrible Tatanka segment. That's just not because it's good. It's because of how bad it is. I mean, of course, you could maybe say seeing the Yo Bro and him in a match with Jeff Jarrett, that might be appealing to you. That could be arguably the feature match instead of the tag match.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I'm kidding. That's not accurate at all.
No, it is, because Virgil's probably the biggest star that we saw in this episode.
I guess if you can say that with a straight face, more power to you. Yeah, this is a pretty weak show. I don't know if I have much interest in a potential IRS Tatanka feud, especially if it's over a headdress.
That's like 1991 shit.
Even like earlier than that. I feel that's like a late 80s type of nonsense.
Right.
So I would honestly probably just watch last week's episode, completely skip this because this might ruin Tatanka for you, and then watch March WrestleMania 10. If you're wanting to watch WrestleMania 10 or March WrestleMania 10. So we haven't seen it. I haven't seen that show in a long time either. So I don't even know if that holds up, but I'm already telling you to watch it instead of this. So it can't be much worse than this. Awesome. What did you think of this week's episode?
Yeah, same for me. It's almost like it's like a beautiful day outside, and that's WrestleMania, right? So last week it was you open the door, you're ready to run through to WrestleMania, and then you fucking hit the screen, and you're like, oh, fuck. That's what this episode of Raw was. You're hitting the screen. Definitely not as good as last week. Best match on the card was easily the first one. And I just really am not impressed with Jarrett at this point. He's such a disappointment. It's the same thing with like Bam Bam, with Bomb almost at this point. These guys come in with such hype, and I'm always looking so forward to them. Mind you, we've only been doing this a year, and already I can name 3 or 4, maybe 5 off the top of my head that I was really looking forward to and have just kind of fallen off a cliff with. That negativity aside, I am looking forward to WrestleMania. I am looking forward to the march to WrestleMania. I think it's definitely both shows are going to be better than last year. And that's saying something because last year's march to WrestleMania was rather good, all things considered. So, yeah, definitely skip this one. Watch last week's. If you're really, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to go back to watch this for one reason, and it's literally that 12-minute Tatanka segment. I will be watching that again some point probably soon just because I don't know if I hated it so much that I loved it or I loved it so much I hated it. I don't know which one it is.
Right.
But yeah, just do yourself a favor on a weekend when you're fucking bored and you're just scrolling in your phone.
Grab your family.
Grab your family. If you're Native American, ask your whole family to come over and throw this shit on and see what they say. Because, wow, we've only seen maybe, like we talked about, earlier in this episode, maybe 2 or 3 other things that top this as far as just absolutely ridiculous. So that's definitely worth noting, But otherwise than that, if you're not really looking for some wrestle crap, you can definitely skip this week.
Yeah. But you certainly can't miss a week of IcoPod though. So we will talk about it and hopefully save you from having to watch it.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. Yeah, so recording schedule is pretty much March for WrestleMania 10 and then WrestleMania 10 itself. And then that should give us, I think, about a couple of weeks of material. We might take a break again. Who knows? After WrestleMania 10, though, it is almost 3 months until we get another pay-per-view, which would be King of the Ring. Yeah. So that's a shit ton of Raws that we're going to watch.
Right.
Hopefully they're good. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, you can hopefully leave us a 5-star review and comment on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this to spread the word. Tell your family, friends, your ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends or whoever.
Any Native Americans,
Yeah, go to your local tribe.
Reservation,
sure. And let them know about Tatanka in this very emotional segment.
Right.
Maybe you want to show it to them.
Yeah, go right up to the lodge, knock on the door. Chief Little Turtlefoot should be there. Helping you out.
Yeah. Well, maybe make sure you look in the bushes for IRS so he doesn't try to take the headrest.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this. Definitely. So moving forward, we are going to get a little bit of a breather. I must say, and I must admit, and Bob, this is probably the first time you're hearing this, but with you off of work, buddy, you kind of burned me out.
Well, how is that my fault?
So
what did I do?
Oh,
we watched
twice a fucking week.
We watched wrestling and talked about it. How's that possibly burning you out?
It's a lot. I was stressed.
Jesus Christ.
Busy time for me.
Listen, it's not my fault that when we did the live watch on Tuesday that you crammed 2 shows in one evening.
I did.
Because you didn't realize what day it was.
Yeah, so just a little backstory on that. So this week that we're currently talking about, I had a lapse in judgment and crammed the rest of the Raws that we needed to watch in, like Monday night. I stayed up probably till about 12:30 doing notes and cramming shit in, thinking that the following day was Thursday when we record the regular episodes for IcoPod, not even thinking that they were the bonus episodes where I don't have to worry about a fucking thing and just watch the show and talk with Bob. So that was a bummer. I definitely was like, hey man, can we only record one bonus episode this week? Because I'm a fucking idiot and just burnt the shit out of my stick on both ends by cramming everything in the night before. So hence why WrestleFest 1994 will be put off at a later date, but it kind of works out because it takes place after WrestleMania 10 anyway, as Bob has told me.
Well, it's released after. All the matches are taped prior to WrestleMania 10, but the
This is the
release
release?
is released after. Yeah, it's like released in June or something like that.
Okay. So it kind of works out. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, and hopefully, which I would prefer, is if we can get somebody on to talk about that show with us. Maybe somebody who hasn't been on before would be really cool. So, Bob, I don't know if you want to transition into that and how they can go about doing that, but that's what I would prefer.
Yeah, if you want to be on WrestleFest 94 or any future live watch, and I think Austin's doing this just so he doesn't have to talk nearly as much and he can relax, you can send us a message on IcoPod on Facebook, or you can go to send me an email, icopodcast@gmail.com.
Have we gotten any emails lately, Bob?
Well, I can check because I definitely have not been up to speed on that part.
Yeah, pull it up for that.
I know Mike. That was usually Mike Campbell's
go-to
way of communicating with me. Maybe he sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and I haven't checked it. But let's see.
Yeah, let's pull it up on the air.
This is gonna be really awkward when I'm like, no one talks to me.
Either that or it's like, hey, we have 60 emails.
That is absolutely not true.
Yeah,
that is not going to happen. All right, here we go. Ready? Moment of truth.
Oh boy.
Gotta stall as my browser loads.
I like your new haircut, by the way, Bob.
Thanks, man. I recently panicked seeing that I have more than 2 gray hairs now. It's about 7. So I said, fuck it.
And scalped yourself.
Scalp myself. Yep. Ironically, it was right after watching the Tatanka segment.
Oh.
So.
Okay, Sean.
That's what I was going for.
Call you HBK.
Yeah, thanks. As long as there's only 1 K in my name, I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing new.
Okay.
Although I don't think I told this story.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So here's a story that Mike Campbell sent to me. It's regarding Scott Steiner, who has recently done an opening for IcoPod.
Okay.
And he sent me the story. He says that a story that he has heard was that Scott went to Watts about him wanting to be turned heel. This is in WCW.
Sure. Yeah.
And to be pushed as a top guy.
Okay.
So this would have been about October of 1992, which started with him getting the TV title. Scott, according to Brad Armstrong in an interview, pretty much cussed Watts out and told him in no uncertain terms that he was not going to turn on his brother. And if Watts tried to make him, then he'd kick his ass. And then I guess this is a quote, probably according to Brad Armstrong. Watts said, "If I was 20 years younger," Scott said, "if you were 20 years younger, I'd still kick your ass." So yeah, Mike Campbell, Survivor Series, the Luger family skit was not in it. It shows a video showing several historical sites with Vince doing voiceovers to put over the patriotism of all Americans. The final one is of a graveyard. The ironic thing about Savage replacing Perfect in 1992, Perfect was a replacement and teamed with Savage, and they wrestled a team that included Razor, which that did happen. A few years later, the Bushwhackers went to ECW as Luke Dudley and Butch Dudley. You can imagine how well that went over. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. And let's just pretend that was never a thing, please. I really, really like the Scott Steiner story. And I think what better way to segue into the opening, our new opening of IcoPod.
Yeah, it was with the big bad Booty Daddy, Scotty Steiner.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, Mike Campbell, I'm sure that you're listening to this. Clearly, I forget to copy and paste what you send me into my notes. So my apologies, but hey, I've always said I will get to it. And by
That's
God,
true.
I got to it. So Mike, if you maybe you felt, hey, I'm not going to send that Bob guy any more emails. He doesn't fucking read my shit. I just did. So feel free to pass more along to me. Anybody can. IcoPodcast@gmail.com or just send them on IcoPod, the Facebook page. I know people know how to do it because we get messages on it. So don't tell me, oh, I don't know what I do and I don't know how to talk. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Oh, I don't know how to leave a 5-star review. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. You do. Sick of it. I will send a request to Scott Steiner because I'm friends with him now.
Right.
I will freaking get your address and I'll be like, yeah, man. Hey, what's your address? I want to send you some free IcoPod shit off of Redbubble. What's your address? And you'll give it to me. And little will you know, I will pay Scott Steiner $50 to go to your house and kick your ass.
Hey, you son bitch. Open the door.
Yeah. Where's my freaks in there? Holler. If you hear me.
By the way, one last little story here before we go, and hopefully before Bob's computer crashes.
Listen, I didn't lose internet. I've clearly buffered there, but I did not lose internet, and my browser didn't crash. So hey, I'll take it.
Right. Bob plans to hopefully visit with Hogan 98 money sometime in 2019 here in Florida. And one of the stops on our list is, of course, the Shoney's in Ackworth, Georgia, headed by the big bad booty daddy himself,
Booty daddy.
Scott fucking Steiner. So I'll tell you what, if we do that, I wouldn't mind IcoPod going Facebook Live from Shoney's in Ackworth, Georgia, at the establishment, the Mecca, if you will, of Big Papa Pump.
So that Scott Steiner can put me in the Steiner recliner or something? I don't understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Fabulous. That makes me feel really safe.
I'm putting it on the table right now.
Do we ever tell the Steiner story that we have? You were definitely there for that.
I don't think we have.
Well, let's do it right now before we go. We went to a big time wrestling show. This was 2 years ago.
Probably getting to there, yeah. 2 years.
Yeah. We went to the baseball stadium here, MBT Bank Stadium. And afterwards, we went to Denny's, which is like 10 minutes away, maybe.
Yeah.
So it was me, Austin, Dallas. My now ex-girlfriend was there. Kaylee was there and Katie, right? So it was like all the couples.
Yeah.
And as soon as we open the door and get in there, we see Scott Steiner sitting at the Denny's table, and he sees us, and he immediately pretends that he's on a phone call, and he pulls his hat down. And he's like, yeah, all right, yeah, because he knew that we had just been there at the wrestling show, and he did not want to be bothered.
Well, half of us paid for a fucking meet and greet to see him.
Right. Yeah. So he was like, no, we will just pretend that I'm on a phone call. Right
He
now.
did totally do that. He did.
Which, I mean, I can't blame him. I wouldn't want to be bothered either at fucking Denny's at 11:30 at night.
Right. And it's funny too, because Scott Steiner out of character is like the most vanilla white guy you'd ever see. Like his voice is different. He's just like a different guy. I feel like he looks like Scott Steiner, but like, are you sure that's him?
Yeah. I think he's gotten a lot more mellow in
Totally.
the last decade or so.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. But what is mellow is IcoPod. We're always going to be spitting fire. We're always going to say controversial things, and we're going to I don't even know
stories about Scott Steiner at Denny's at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and Billy Gunn, big time in Wonderworks and stuff like that.
Yeah, dick.
So, perfect stuff. We like you, Billy. All right, Austin, you got anything else here for episode 64?
WrestleMania, baby, here we come. Woo!
All right. Fortunately, WrestleMania 10 will not have the yo, bro movement on it.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Hopefully, all of our bros, our IcoPod bros, will keep on joining us. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Conley Jr., and this has been another amazing, thrilling episode of IcoPod.
You gotta hear it.